Hey, how's it going everybody? Today I have a big time juicing strategy for you guys. It's Blight. I ended up spending all of my currency that I had just to farm these 25 maps. I had like 30 or so divines saved up. So this is a big investment strategy, but it has big time payoff. And it's really fun because you get huge loot explosions after you finish the Blight. I will warn you that you will probably die a lot of times in this strategy. I didn't fail any maps. I almost failed a few though. I only had one portal left on a couple of those maps. So you really need to make sure that you have a tanky character that does a crap load of damage. Other than that, if you enjoy the video, make sure to hit with a thumbs up and comment down below. Also, if you could subscribe to the YouTube channel, I'd really appreciate it. We already hit 1,000 subscribers, but now we're trying to go to 1,500. Any support is greatly appreciated. Now let's get into the strategy. Oh shit, our first divine orb, nice. Very first Blight, and we got a div. Ooh, nice, triple fortunate. There we go. Sheesh. While I play. Then, ooh, nice. Damn. Just want to make sure you do. There we go, big loot explosion. Oh, my pump got destroyed. No, we failed the map. We still get a big, huge loot explosion. Boom. Oh. Ooh, big drop. Double Valdos. Boom. Explosion. Holy shit. There it goes. Boom, divine. Let's go. Oh shit. Oh shit. Damn. Alright chat, tonight we are big boy juicing Blight. We're hoping to get a mage blood in these 25 maps. It's unlikely. Maybe we'll get super lucky and we'll get a mage blood. Probably not, but this is the end of league. I'm spending literally all my currency. I only have 1,500 chaos left in my entire stash. Like, I am broke as fuck. I'm spending all my currency on this. These Scarabs cost like 30 div worth of Scarabs. Absolutely insane investment on this strategy, but it has high return. So that's why we're running it. So the strategy, we have one Bloodline Scarab, and then we have one Blight Scarab of Invigoration. Then we have one Blight Scarab of Blightheart. Then we have two Scarab of Wisps. For this strategy, we actually want to use tier 16.5 Dunes maps and then use the quality Scarab chisels on them. So this map, for example, and then we take it to the menagerie and split it using the Phenomenal Plagued Arachnid Beast. So all my maps over here are already split, as you can see. You want to apply the chisels first. So I'll show you the chisel here. It's very expensive. So chisel, it's the Maven's Chisel of Scarabs. They're going for about 40 chaos each. So you've got to apply 4 of them to a map. That's 160 chaos. That's literally 1 divine per map. So you apply that 1 divine to this map, and then we can go over to Einhar here and go to the menagerie. And as long as you have the Phenomenal Plagued Arachnid and some yellow beasts, you just place it in here, and then you look up split, and you split it in 2. There is a split in 3, but that requires a Black Morrigan, and those are expensive. We just want to use the Phenomenal Plagued Arachnid one, and we can split it, kill these monsters, kill these beasts, and then we get 2 maps. So it'll double your maps there. It's a great way to save a lot of money while you're doing this strategy. Embarrassing to ask this late in the game, but what makes it a 16.5 map? So a normal map has no outline around it, and then a 16.5 has the white line. And also, if you read that line of text there, it says area is influenced by the originator's memories. So that makes it a 16.5. And basically what that means is with tier 17 maps, there's a certain set of modifiers that you can get on the maps. So if you look here, at the very top, it says more maps and more Scarabs. There's also a more currency. So there's a more currency modifier here as well on this one. And I think that's about it. There's more maps, more Scarabs, more currency. But basically, those modifiers can only be on tier 17 and on tier 16.5. Normal tier 16 maps cannot get those at all. So that's why you want to use tier 16 and tier 7 or tier 16.5 and tier 17 maps. So basically, this regex just makes sure that it doesn't have the mods that I don't want to run, and it has 200% more scarabs. I'll give you guys the regex, but basically all we want on these maps is 200% more scarabs or higher. So this one has 228. That's good. And if we look at our atlas tree here, we basically just go into the blight nodes and then some scarab nodes. Then we go into the bismuth node as well, because we want to get bismuth on our maps, because that, you know, adds a modifier to monsters to make them drop better loot. We also get some increased explicit modifier of maps here and here. Then we also block a bunch of mechanics, so we only drop the more expensive ambush scarabs. That's the tree. Let's grab 20 maps, throw in our first map, and we want to make sure that we run settlers on the map device. Also, with the tree, I forgot to say, but I'm spec'd into red altars because I like red altars because I'm CI and Mage Blood, but you can do blue altars if your build is better at blue altars. Just take these same nodes. So go up here, take all these nodes around here to these two nodes, take these two nodes as well. Don't take these three nodes here in the bottom left. And then just kind of path down here and then grab all of these nodes here. You can ignore this top one. But we want settlers on the map device. Make sure you have the right scarabs. Make sure you have the right atlas tree selected. And we should be good to go to run the strategy. I can't think of anything else to go over right now. We only have 663 gold. Graph locker, heist locker, empty. We have 125 chaos for our map device craft. And then empty tab here, empty fragments tab, empty quad tab, and empty deli tab. This tab just has our maps and scarabs in it. And we're good to go. Okay, so now that we've gone over how to craft the maps and the atlas tree, I want to show you how to actually run the strategy. This is just going to be a demonstration map. I won't count this loot in the overall loot. I already ran the 25 maps. This is after. So we have the settlers map device, Blight selected. We have Blightheart, Bloodlines, Invigoration, 2 Wisps, and then we also have a tier 16.5 Dunes map with more Scarabs on it, and the Scarab quality chisel applied to it as well. So we can go ahead and activate the map. So first thing we want to do as soon as we enter a map is we want to immediately rush to the boss. So we actually got a bismuth ore here, so we're going to grab that as well. But we want to try to kill as few monsters as possible and rush immediately to the boss. So Dunes map, you just kind of follow the edge to get to the boss, and then we take him out here. And now that we've killed the boss, we just clear out the entire rest of the map. You know, you want to get down ideally to 0 monsters left in the map up here, but you can get down to, like, you know, anything less than 50. And the reason we want to entirely clear out the map is so we can collect all of these altars here, all of these Eldritch altars, because they'll just give us more loot. So we want to look for things like Scarabs dropped by slain enemies have chance to be duplicated, because we're getting really high valuable Scarabs, and also the 10% quantity is pretty good. You can kind of just use your own discretion on these altars on which ones are good and which ones aren't. So like this one here, increased quantity and map drops have a chance to be duplicated. That's really good because we dropped some, you know, fortress maps and stuff in this. So I'm going to go ahead and clear out the rest of this map, and then we'll do the Blight at the very end. You want to make sure the Blight is the very last thing that you do. Also, one thing I want to mention here is I never do these defense heists. They're just not worth it. They just waste time and they don't really give you that much loot. I did end up doing one of the hive breaches, but it didn't give me really any good loot at all, so I didn't do any of the other hive breaches. The one breach that I will do is just the like expanding breach, which you just walk over the hand and then it expands, like the old traditional breach. I think those are worth doing just because you can do them as you're clearing the rest of the map and it doesn't take any additional time. Okay, so there's only 10 monsters left in the map. That's good enough. We don't need to clear out every single one. It's not that important. So we can start the Blight encounter. What we're looking for here in the Blight encounter is we're hoping that only one thing breaks off here. So if we look to see at this in the map, you can't really see it that well. If we follow this trail, only one breaks off from the Blight. Sometimes you'll get them where like 4 things will break off, and we don't want it to where it has like 4 breaking off. I mean, you're going to do it no matter what, just because you invest so much in every map, but it's much better if you only have 1 break off, because what we want to do is we want to clump up as many empowering towers in one spot as we can. So next to the pump, what we're going to do is we're going to put a chilling tower and then this seismic tower as well. The reason we're doing that is because we have an anoint on our ring. Which one here? So there's 2 very specific anoints that you need on your rings, or you want on your rings. One you need no matter what. This one right here, your empowering towers have 25% increased range. You want that because we want our empowering towers to have as many overlaps as possible, and then we want to kill the monsters inside that overlap. The empowering towers make the monsters more difficult to kill but more rewarding. So if we have like 7 overlaps where we kill the monsters, that makes them even more rewarding, so we get more loot at the end when the blight finishes. And then the reason we want this anoint where your chilling towers freeze enemies for 0.2 seconds while they are affected by chilling beams is because it literally just perma freezes the enemies. So if we have a chilling tower and a seismic tower next to each other, and you can have them in either order, I think honestly, I don't know which way is better. It might be better to have your seismic tower closer to the pump, I'm not sure. But basically you want both of them next to each other because the seismic tower will stun them, and then the freeze tower will slow them down and freeze them. So they're just permanently stuck here. I'll show you once I'm actually doing the blight, but they're literally permanently stuck and they can't get past. So it's a really good combination, which means you'll like never lose a blight. And if you're looking here, like, how did I pause it? So the market here, so when you're in your blight, a little like hack, it's not really actually hack, but you can hit your market button. I just have it bound to the tilde key, right above tab, and it pulls up the market, and you can still interact with the towers and everything, but it pauses the map. Really useful tool, highly recommend that. Also, once you activate the blight and you see what direction it's going, go to the opposite side of the pump and just place down a portal real quick. I don't have any portal scrolls, sadly. I forgot to grab them, but place down a portal just in case you die, because you will be dying in this strategy. Place down a portal so that you don't have to run all the way across the entire map to get back to the pump. So let me do all these. We're going to place as many empowering towers as we can in an overlap here. And we want to upgrade them to level 3 and level 3 only. So let me grab all of these. I'd prioritize getting as many of them to level 1 as soon as possible, and then start upgrading them. So we pause here, and we're just kind of killing the monsters here. If you see on the map here, all 3 of the things are right here, so all the monsters are going to spawn in this spot. So we want as many of the overlaps as possible in this area. And every upgrade from 1 to 2 and then from 2 to 3 just increases the range, and we want to keep them at level 3. The only time that we upgrade them past level 3 is at the very end of the pump when you only have a couple of monsters left. You want to try to upgrade all of them to level 4. So this is what level 3 looks like. And then at the very end, when you only have a couple monsters left, you want to upgrade all of them to level 4 right before the pump blows up. And then you're good to go. You want to upgrade them to level 4 because you get more rewards from the level 4s. But you want to keep them level 3 so it empowers the monsters and makes them harder and more rewarding. So keep them level 3 the entire time until the very end, then upgrade them to level 4. So we're going to upgrade all of these guys to level 2 and then to level 3 once we can afford it. And be careful here. So if you look on this little map, if you can see it, where we're at right now, we're killing all these monsters, but they're going to start spawning over here and over here at these little portals, at the little blight portals. So just make sure to keep an eye on your map as those spawn in, and make sure you don't, accidentally lose your blight encounter, because that's very bad, because then you lose a lot of money. So I did actually add in a clip. I did fail one blight encounter where I wasn't paying attention and my pump actually got destroyed, but I still got a significant amount of loot from that blight, so it didn't affect my loot too bad, thankfully. So if we look here, these monsters are getting like perma stun and perma frozen, so that's really good. I'm just going to upgrade these a little bit just so they're a little bit better, but we want to try to kill them all these monsters we want to try to kill in this overlap here of this tower, this tower, this tower, this tower, this tower, this tower, like in this overlap area here, because that will just give us more rewards. But occasionally we're going to have to go back over here and check all these out, make sure that we're not getting any rogue any rogue monsters that are gonna kill our pump. And like right now you may look to see like there's not many monsters or anything, but it can get very dangerous very quickly, especially if you have a map with a lot of like as extra damage modifiers and things like that, or like a lot of negative resistances. Okay, so this looks like it's the end of the Blight, and we didn't get it in time to be able to upgrade all this stuff, but there's our huge Blight explosion, 2 exalted orbs, you know, a bunch of different uniques here. We're just kind of looking for T0 uniques mostly, but there are some valuable uniques that I kind of look over. You'll kind of learn which ones are valuable and which ones aren't. But at the very end, you'll get this big Blight sack to open as well, which sometimes can pop out loot. Sometimes, you know, it doesn't pop out anything like this time. And you just go through, open all these little bounties up. Sometimes they can drop like a good Scarab or something if you get lucky. But a lot of times, you know, you don't get anything. I have an extremely strict filter on, because if you don't have an extremely strict filter, your screen will be absolutely filled with crap. So we're kind of just looking for only the extremely high-end loot. So that's kind of the map showcase, how to run through a map, kind of what I think about and things that you should do. If you guys do have any questions about like the strategy or anything, feel free to just comment down in the description. I reply to every single comment, so I'll be there to answer all your questions, or maybe, you know, someone else will answer them. But now that I showed you how to run this strategy, let's go over the costs of it and how much money you can possibly make each map and per hour. So if we look at a cost breakdown here, we had 13 16.5 Dunes maps. That's 130C. The reason we only have 13 of them is because we split them. So that gives us 26. We ran 25 of them. And then for the Scarab chisels, we have 52 of them, because you only need to apply the chisels to these 13 maps, not to all 25 individually, because we're splitting them, again, saving more money. That costs 1,976 chaos. They're about 38 chaos for one chisel. And then for the Blightheart Scarabs, it costs about 13 chaos. They're going like 2 Blighthearts to 1 chaos. Invigorations are pretty expensive. I think they're around like 70 chaos. We spent 1,875 chaos for Bloodlines. They're even more expensive. They're like 130 chaos or so, maybe 135. We spent 2,850 chaos. 50 Wisp Scarabs. These only cost 175 chaos. So again, they're really cheap. And then the map craft is only 125 chaos. So really cheap again. That brings our total cost to 7,144 chaos, or 44.65 divine. This strategy is not cheap. Not cheap at all. You need a lot of currency to get started in this strategy, but you have potential for really high rewards. I only ran 25 maps, which is a really small map set. If you run 100 maps, you're probably going to drop a Headhunter or a Mageblood, maybe both, or maybe some other really expensive uniques. You might also drop like a Hinokora's Lock or something. That's all RNG. Obviously, the more runs you run, the higher likelihood you are to drop those. And since this is such a high juicing strategy, you also want a lot of rarity on your character to have more potential to drop like Mage Bloods or your Headhunters or things like that. So yeah, this strategy is very, very high investment. But with the high investment, you get high returns. So let's go over the loot that we made. So if we go here in these tabs, this is our currency tab. This is all the currency that we made. So if we go to the exotic and then the general, we also got 7 Valdos puzzle box. We got 4 raw divines. And then if we go to the fragments tab, we got a bunch of really expensive scarabs here, and there's nothing else in here. We have this one invitation, but that's just, everybody gets that. And then also this is the quad tab here. We got a ton of fortress maps. We also got a ton of blighted maps, and then we also got a few valuable uniques and like maybe a couple rares that might sell for something. But we also got a significant amount of tier 16.5s, which might sell for quite a bit. Like this Jungle Valley sells for, 12 chaos. So if we look at the screenshot from my stream, I went to Wealthy Exile to get a price check, and it took me about 3 hours to run the strategy. We got about 52 divines from Scarabs. I don't know why it's split up to Scarabs and fragments. We only had Scarabs in that tab. Then we also got 8.6 divines in currency, 5.1 divines in maps, 2.7 divines in divination cards. All those divination cards are just the fortunate cards. We got like the exact amount. I think it's like 12 to get 2 divines. And then we had a couple other divination cards that are worth a little bit. And then if we look at the rest of the maps, it's about 1.5 divine in total value. And then there's about another divine and a half in total value and all the other little miscellaneous junk. And that in total is 72 divines. I was actually really surprised with how many divines we made. It didn't really feel like we were making a lot. I mean, there was tons of tinks from like all the Scarabs and the divines you're dropping Valdos boxes. There was also a reliquary key which we dropped, which is worth a lot. But I was really surprised at the end to see that we made 72 divines. So that's about 23 divines per hour. But we do have to take out the initial cost. So we made 72 divine total, and then we subtract our investment, which is 44.65 divine. That equals 27.35 divine. Divide that by 3 hours, which is how long it took me. Some of you may be able to run this faster, some slower, depending on your build. That's about 9.11 divine per hour, or 1.1 divine per map. Now that seems kind of bad, especially for how high investment this is, but the strategy is really about fishing. Like it's all about that big prize of possibly dropping like a headhunter or a mage blood, or like a mirror of Kalandra or something. If you're really lucky, maybe like a Hinokora's lock. Like you're getting this giga juice loot, so it's all about getting those like really high T0 drops eventually. But all in all, I think this is a really fun strategy and a really good strategy. It may not seem like the highest profit per hour or anything like that, but like if you run enough maps, you're gonna drop one of those really high T0 uniques that cost a ton of divine, and you're gonna make this strategy way more profitable. And ultimately, this strategy is just really fun because you're getting so many tinks per map, and you're just juicing out the freaking goose. And like you get tons of dopamine hits, like when the pump actually finishes and it's just raining loot on you. Like that's just so much fun. And also I just really enjoy the Blight mechanic in general, the league mechanic. I think Blight is awesome. I grew up playing Bloons Tower Defense, so playing some tower defense is really fun. So if you have the currency to actually fund playing this strategy, I highly recommend trying it out. I mean, you're gonna have to invest a bunch of currency into this to actually run it, but it is super fun, and it's the end of the league. You might as well just spend a bunch of currency to try to make a bunch of currency. This game's all about gambling at the end of the day anyways, so you might as well spend your currency while you have it and do something really fun like this strategy. So that is all for this video. I just want to thank you guys all again for the 1,000 subscribers. I still have the balloons behind me. Thank you all again. We're trying to get to 1,500 now. That's the next goal. I appreciate all the support. Make sure to like the video, comment down in the description if you have any questions about this. I'll be there to answer them, and have a great rest of your day.